Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. This review is going to be for the movie called The Sun is Also a Star. College bound romantic Daniel Bay and Jamaican born pragmatist Natasha Kingsley meet and fall in love over one magical day amidst the fervor and flurry of New York City. Sparks immediately fly between these two strangers who might never have met had fate not given them a little push. With just hours left on the clock in what looks to be her last day in the U.S., Natasha is fighting her budding feelings for Daniel, who is working just as hard to convince her they are destined to be together. So, this is a 2019 film. It is rated, I think it's PG 13. It runs about an hour and a half, and it stars the two people on the front, Yara Shahidi and Charles Melton. This is The Sun is Also a Star. Well, boy, I finally got around to seeing this. It's been a while. I've had it in my pile, and I haven't been very excited about watching it, I'll be honest. And movies like this are, they're kind of a snooze. If you're not in a relationship, if you're not married, if you don't have a girl to go every moment, then it's just kind of it's just kind of an annoying thing to do. And so I sat through it. I watched every minute of it. I didn't fall asleep, but I didn't care for it all that much. We'll start with the good things because there are some. I do like the chemistry between these two people. I understand why they got put in this movie and why they got to star in this movie. Um, you know, People like this, you have to wonder how they got senior and high school roles because they look like they're almost 30. But, it was a nice little interaction between them. Charles Melton was able to act like a love struck, little high schooler, and Yara was able to act like a high schooler, probably too mature for her age, trying to handle a big problem while also being a girl that can, like a boy. So that part worked fine for me. I thought they were fine actors, fine chemistry between them. Each of them handled their situations that they had to be in as characters in a movie, and they did it pretty well. So, that being said, um, the rest of the cast also had to kind of buy into the situation of what was going on because Daniel's trying to get into college and she is trying to stop her family from having to leave the country and getting deported. And so there's a lot going on in this movie other than these two. And I would have appreciated more of the situations, but the parts where the movie starts to slow down, get really, really boring, and really, really yawn, 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 is when they just focus on these two. Just being together, just wasting time, just sitting around kissing, it's irrelevant to the story. And you're bringing up these huge situations, they should kind of matter throughout the movie, not just for the beginning and the end. And then in the middle is just them. Terrible story structure. So the idea is there, the effort was there. I just don't like how it was executed. Okay. Then the dialogue in this movie is so bad. I mean, like, I was watching it and I was listening to these people talk, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what? Why are you saying that at this time? Why are you saying it that way? Why are you arguing with them at this point? Just, it was really, really uncomfortable to listen to. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why, like, within 10 minutes of him saving her life, that they would be arguing. I don't understand that. And there's lots of other things and how they say it, and it's either sappy or corny or something else. It just is lacking in the whoever wrote the script for the people talking to each other, the interactions. The brother of Daniel, he's a good character. He should have more to do. He should be painted out to be a certain way, but he gets given the chance to be himself at a point, and they just kind of wimp out and just have him be nice. I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, I know certain things have to be a certain way for things to make sense later. I understand story structure, but you've got to let people be themselves, especially when they walk into a movie and they get told to act a certain way. You have to let them be that way. Otherwise, when they act outside of that, it doesn't make any sense. So, the other thing was just the middle part of this movie and a little bit of the ending, but I'll get to that in a second. The middle part of this movie is just him and her having time in between their chaos, and they decide that they're going to just walk around and hold hands and start falling in love, and then they fall in love. And it's the most ridiculous, the most sappy, the most corny thing that I've ever seen. And movies like this usually have a little bit more integrity, but this one doesn't. So I don't know what they were thinking, and I don't know why they have to spend like 40 minutes on this whole development of them having feelings for each other, but it blew my mind having to sit there and just watch it. I was like, nothing else is going on in your lives, okay? And a lot of it is fueled by their situations, like it's not really true love, if it's in the heat of the moment and you're worried about this, life changing thing, and so that's the only reason why you're even talking to this boy. I mean, they had a couple lines here and there of, okay, I need to go do this, okay, I need to do this, but none of that ever actually happens. So they're trying to have integrity, but then they don't go through with it. I mean, they could have had a really different movie here that would make a lot more sense, but they went with, the Hollywood feel good thing that girls from the age of 10 to 16 are going to love. And so, whatever. The ending was confusing. I never do appreciate all that much. Some movies can really pull this off and make a really cool movie out of this, but I never really appreciate all that much time jumping. If you're gonna, do this improbable situation, and then you're gonna come back to this point in time, and then you're gonna go forward a little bit, and then you're gonna go back 5 years, you've got to be able to pull it off. You can't just do it and hope it works out. Things don't go that way. So, I was a little bit upset about the whole time jumping thing. I, I, One of them makes sense when they flash forward. It doesn't always make sense when they flash back. It doesn't always make sense when they're giving probable situations that could happen. Speculation doesn't really belong in a movie, especially one like this where there are various situations going on. There's a possible love interest happening. You need to have your ideas about what could happen founded. So I just didn't appreciate the speculation stuff. So it ended in a weird way. I think it could have ended two or three different times, two or three different ways. But I don't know. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen because it was kind of feel good. It had some nice scenes. I saw the previews for this like a million times. That's why I didn't see it in theater, because it was annoying me watching the previews over and over and over again for a movie like this. I was like, why is a movie like this getting pushed? And then I finally watched it here months later, and I just don't understand the hype about it. So it was better than I've ever thought it would be because I sat through it. I got in my own opinion about it now. But the scenes that were in the previews, like, I thought he would be singing himself during this karaoke scene that was in the previews a million times. He wasn't. I thought they would be, doing this after this one scene in the previews, but that didn't happen. So it's kind of like false advertising, the trailer that got put out there to the world. And I didn't really appreciate that either after watching this movie. So I think this is a very middle of the road movie, especially as much as many movies as we get of this kind. And I just wish that people, when you're gonna make these movies, you've either got to have something legendary for an ending, or you got to have a lot of conflict all the way through it, so that we stay interested in if they're gonna end up together or not. It can't be obvious. It can't be sappy. It can't spend 40 minutes just them walking around. That's not a movie. You got to have some kind of integrity. You got to have some kind of story. You got to have something interesting in your movie for the whole time. Otherwise, there's no reason making it an hour and a half or an hour. Just don't make it. I'm going to give The Sun Is Also a Star a C. Can't advise watching it, but I know a lot of people already have. I know that a lot of people will, because of this kind of movie is popular, but I can't advise watching it. I really didn't buy into any part of it. The acting was probably the best thing about it, to be honest. The story structure, the commentary, the dialogue, all that stuff, all of it was pretty bad. So I think I'm not giving it my worst grade, but I think The Sun Is Also Star is very much a C movie. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And enjoy movies. Thanks.